glad you've joined me again this week. We're in the governor's reception room, and it's a gorgeous, ornate room filled with wonderful pictures on the walls, and just a few moments ago was filled with a number of children who come as part of a tour for their classroom. We give tours at the Capitol every day, and it's very exciting to see the children come to learn and the excitement in their voices when they ask questions and learn about the state of Minnesota and how government works. One of the ways government does work is through its budget. And this past Monday, just a few days ago, the February forecast, long awaited, was announced. And indeed, there was good news. It was $1 billion, a little over $1 billion improvement in the budget, which means we'll be looking at $5 billion worth of cuts, just a little bit over that, as opposed to the 6.2 that we started the session with. I think we're all relieved, though we do know this is a time when the recovery is very fragile. We need to be careful that we don't do anything that will exacerbate problems. We need to make certain that we don't cause more unemployment, and then what we do is pass legislation that supports the job growth that we currently have in the state of Minnesota and that's positive for our state. I'm choosing today to be in the governor's reception room because this is the place that the announcement was made by the governor about some adjustments he made to his budget based on the February forecast. Several of those changes included a removal of the surcharge for those making over $500,000 a year, as well as removing some of the cuts in the area of health and human services and other areas that were really important to folks from Minnesota that I heard about, and I think the governor heard as well. Despite the strong economy and the better forecast, we still have a lot of hard work ahead of us. The majority party will come out with their budget shortly. Right now, we're having a couple light days here at the legislature while some committees have been canceled, and those folks are at the table developing that budget. It will roll out. It's my understanding that there will be an all-cuts budget, but we'll see what they come up with after they start looking at the hard numbers. I think at that time, the governor's budget will be on the table, the majority party's budget will be on the table, and we'll have to start looking very closely at the impact on the community and the state and make some decisions about what we'll all be willing to support at the end of the day. It'll be time for some compromise, certainly. One of the things that I've learned this past week in my higher ed committee was what those cuts will look like to the University of Minnesota and to MnSCU. It's a rather dire picture that was painted, very concerning. The president, Brunix, from the University of Minnesota, shared his thoughts and ideas, tried painting a picture about what a large 15 to 20% cut would look like. He was very clear that 2/3 of that cut will be cuts to programs, and he gave some examples. 1/3 of those, the impact will be borne by students and their families in tuition increases, and he was reluctant to say how large those might be. Some of the cuts that he suggested, and he didn't lay out his exact plan, but he foreshadowed what could come, and he gave examples of cutting both medical schools would not equal a 15 to 20% cut. He said closing all 4 coordinated campuses would not equal the 15 to 20% cut. He said laying off 1,700 employees would not equal a 15 to 20% cut. And he went on and on saying closing the College of Science and Engineering, pharmacy, and dentistry still would not equal a 15 to 20% cut. And certainly he will not do, and the regents will not do all of those things, or even maybe one of those things, but some of those suggested cuts, or a combination of those and others, will be something that the regents and the president will have to look at. And that's certainly concerning for all of us in the state of Minnesota. President Brunix went so far as to say cuts of this magnitude, a 15 to 20% cut, would devastate the University of Minnesota and probably be so devastating that we would not be able to recover from that, and we would certainly lose our status as a research university to be admired not only across the state and country, but indeed in the world. While there's great news in the February forecast, and it's wonderful to see the economy getting back on its feet, and certainly corporations are making record profits. We see those reports every day. I'm not ready to call it a full recovery until we have every Minnesotan we can get to work back on the job. Until next time.